From 9 on Your Side Sports, Cincinnati's longest-running sports talk show on television. This is Sports of All Sorts with Reggie Wilson.
What up? Welcome to Sports of All Sorts. Just in case you were overly excited about the Bengals winning their first game last week, they brought you back down to reality today, which may be a good thing for the future. Bengals in Cleveland for the first installment of the Battle of Ohio. Bizarre play that goes the Bengals' way in the first. Baker Mayfield hits David Njoku across the middle, and Nick Vigil takes his lunch money. Players reviewed and called a fumble recovery? Bengals get the ball, but they give it right back. Andy played inspired last week, pretty pedestrian today. Picked off by Denzel Ward. He's excited the Buckeyes made the playoff again, so he takes it back to Columbus for the pick six. Browns lead 7-3. Bengals get another gift. Baker throws a bad pass, tipped, picked by Jesse Bates. He runs it down the sideline, puts the squad in business. Joe Mixon had a big day, but you can argue he wasn't used enough. Career high 146 yards rushing, and this touchdown puts the Bengals on top 13-7. Then Cleveland applies pressure. Baker races to the pylon, and check out the sweet feet around the corner to get the ball over the goal line for 6. Browns go up by 1. Bengals had plenty of chances today, but some bad play calling and lack of execution dooms the day. Browns win 27-19. Bengals now 1-12, and they got the Patriots up next. So Jim Breech with me tonight, Bengals all-time leading scorer in franchise history. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Reg. How are you?
Well, we're doing better than what we saw in Cleveland today.
Yeah, actually, there was some excitement there. I mean, they had 455 yards of offense today. Running game got going. I think what we anticipate with the running game and Mixon having a big game, and really the last 6 weeks they've run the ball pretty well. I'll tell you what, when you can't score though, and you can't get inside the red zone, you know, they've had nine times this year inside the 20 where they've come away with nothing. Not a field goal, nothing, which is either tied for first or second, worst in the league. So that's just frustration. I mean, that's a lot of points left on the board. We consider Cleveland got down there, twice and had 2 touchdowns. Bengals were down there, 4 times early on. Well, had 5 times and only got 1 touchdown out of it. That's just crazy.
All those field goals, it seems like that's kind of been like the story this season.
You know, it has, except that it's just recently that Randy's got a lot of opportunities. They've really just struggled early in the year to move the ball. They're now moving the ball, but now they can't get into the end zone, and that's a huge struggle.
And so, talking about that, some of Zach's play calling today was a little head-scratching. What did you think of that, especially in the goal line situations, not giving it to Mixon after converting on the 4th down?
Yeah, I said something to somebody that I'm surprised they didn't at least try and run the ball in there, because they really were controlling the line of scrimmage pretty well on the rundowns. And yeah, I think sometimes coaches outthink themselves. Let me ask you this. Conversely, why did Cleveland only run the ball like a handful of times in the first half when they're against the worst rush defense in the league?
Exactly.
And they have the leading rusher in the NFL, and they only run a handful of times. So I just think coaches get ahead of themselves sometimes. They outthink themselves.
Yeah, this seems like they woke up in the second half and remembered who the Bengals were and remembered who they were in the run game. So let's talk about Andy Dalton. Last week, like I said, he played inspired. This week, not so much. What did you think of his performance today?
I think it was similar to last week. I mean, you know, they struggled to stretch the field. A lot of yards. It's hard for them to move the ball. A lot of time of possession. They hang on to the ball, but it seems like their drives go on forever.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard for them to get in the end zone. They don't have chunk plays very often. They had a couple nice plays with Mixon, a couple runs and a pass to him that he ran pretty far with. But they don't get a 57-yard run like Chubb had, or, you know, a pass that goes for 60 or something like. They're just not getting those types of plays, and it's hard. You know, the whole bend don't break philosophy is based on the offense having to run a lot of plays, figuring that at some point in time you're going to make a mistake, and they've struggled with that, and they end up kicking field goals when they do get down there.
All right, so next week they got an angry Patriots team. They've lost 2 straight. Any reason to believe the Bengals have any type of chance? Should we just keep it moving to Miami?
Well, as Bill Belichick might say, just week. He might say on to Cincinnati. That's a little scary. Again, you play the games. There's some flaws in what New England has this year. They struggle. They have some of the similar struggles the Bengals have stretching the field, and it's shown up at times because their guys can't get separation. We've heard about that too, right?
Yeah.
If you can get in Brady's face, you've got a chance.
Yeah, they did a lot of that
They
today.
just seem to be exceptional. They're exceptionally tough-minded.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes them different from everybody else. If you think they're out of a game, like today, it looked like they were out of that game. They actually made it a game at the end.
They did. So next week, I'm going to church. I'm going to pray for the Bengals. We're going to see what happens. But, Jim, as always, thanks for taking the time tonight.
Thanks, Reg.
All right, we'll do it again next week.
Sounds great.
All right, coming up, we're talking UC football and basketball. Don't go away. Welcome back. Busy weekend in Cincinnati sports, and joining me to talk about it is our guy Mo Egger. Hear him every day on the radio, ESPN 1530. Also catch him on 700 WLW and The Athletic and A Partridge in a Pear Tree.
I have a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's surprising you found time to sit with me tonight.
Compared to most people that I spend my days with, this is a delight. This is
Wonderful.
a pleasure. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Once again, not Freddie Coleman. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. So we'll start with UC football.
Sure.
They had their chances yesterday. Once again, just couldn't get it done. What did you think of that game yesterday?
Frustrating.
Yeah.
Frustrating because for most of it, I thought Cincinnati was the better team.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going to win the game. I will be completely transparent in that I was working the basketball broadcast, and so
Yeah.
I was only able to keep one eye on football really during timeouts. But going back and watching today, there were a number of opportunities. I would have loved to have seen how the game would have played out if they didn't run into the punter early in the game, and maybe things
Because it seemed like they had some momentum.
had some momentum and would have had good field position. So, and I think it is only fair to wonder offensively how would have things played out had they given Ben Bryant a chance to start, because he does have some tantalizingly good arm talent. Now he's very inexperienced, and you certainly saw that the first go around against Memphis. That is a what if, and I like Des Ridder a lot, and I can certainly understand why they played him. And frankly, I thought for the most part defensively, the Bearcats were good enough to win the game. But yeah, frustrating. It doesn't take away from what they did this year, which is win 10 games. It doesn't take away from the trajectory of the program, which is pointed upward. But the idea is to win conference championships.
For sure.
And let's face it, a lot of UC fans look down on this league. Well, you can only really do that if you win it occasionally.
Exactly.
And so this was a chance to do that, and they didn't take advantage. And it's disappointing.
And so you mentioned the quarterback. So
Yeah.
Des Ridder, he played okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't great. Probably a little bit of rust from not playing last week, and also, not practicing a lot. And
Sure.
also, he got a whole shoulder injury
Yeah.
that he's nursing right now. But what did you think of his performance? Did you feel like maybe he could have helped them win if maybe he had some continuity in practicing and playing?
Perhaps. I mean, I think as they examine what they're going to do next year, you kind of have to take a look at, from an offensive standpoint, whether it was Dez or Ben Bryant, it felt at times this year like it was feast or famine. They could hit a play or two downfield, but they really never got going with the intermediate stuff. Their wide receivers didn't put up huge numbers this year. And, you can win that way. They're going to bring back Mike Warren. They're going to bring back Jared Dokes. Obviously, I think they want to be a run-first football team.
Right.
Des Ridder has won 20 games, and so he is not a player without merit.
Right.
But Ben Bryant was kind of the centerpiece of the recruiting class a couple of years ago. And so I think, I don't know that Luke Fickell is going to do this because I know he has a huge sense of loyalty to Des, who, again, has won 20 games over his first two seasons.
Can't discount that.
But I do think you have to take examine of offensively, how can we be more explosive, especially in this day and age of college football, and does playing Ben Bryant more often give us a chance to do that? I thought Des was okay yesterday. He wasn't great. He was, frankly, he was the way he was against USF and against Temple, where you saw some good things and then you saw unfortunately, some not so good things. How's that for analysis? You
That's
saw some good
analysis.
things and some not so good things.
I like to analyze like that on Twitter. So they're going to the Birmingham Bowl to play Boston College. You excited about that? You care?
Yeah, I mean, if as cliche as it sounds, if they're going to play a game, you might as well hope they win it.
Right.
I know they won 11 games last year and they won a bowl game last season. You would certainly love for seniors to get a chance to go out on a winning note. You would kind of love for the season the lingering taste of losing the last two to not get added on by losing a third game. And let's face it, this program's postseason history isn't so expansive and checkered with all these monumental bowl games that we're going to be cavalier about playing in and winning a bowl game.
Yeah.
And up until last year, it had been since the Liberty Bowl in 2011, I believe. The Belk Bowl in 2012, since they had won one. So, and there's also not a very long list of 11-win seasons. So, yeah, I mean, do I think it's going to define their season winning the Birmingham Bowl against Boston College? Not really. But do I think it would be cool if they won it? Sure. Why not?
Yeah, Papo did a kind of a look back yesterday on all the bowls that they've been to, and I had Deontay Kenner here with me.
Yeah.
And he was just excited. It was like going back down memory lane. He was like, I was there. Yeah, I remember that bowl.
Yeah.
So, it's still something to get excited about. All right, so let's switch to hoops.
Okay.
All right. The Crosstown Shootout turned into the Najee Marshall show.
Yeah.
What did you like from what you saw from him, being that it was a big game where big players rise to the occasion, and he did that?
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people often say about the Crosstown Shootout that it's a game where you get an unexpected guy that becomes this hero from nowhere, and obviously this game has seen that. I watched D. Davis hit 5 threes a few years ago. Nobody ever would have thought that. But in recent seasons, it's really been about stars. You go back to last year, Jaron Cumberland was the best player on the court. 2 years ago, it was Trayvon Blewett. Frankly, the year before, which was a game Xavier lost, one of the best, maybe the best performance in Crosstown Shootout history, a star.
Yeah.
Najee Marshall is a star. He is Xavier's best player. He was the best player on the court. What you weren't really expecting, given how poorly he had shot it from outside, at least from three, to that point, he was 10 of 43, is for him to make the outside shots that he made with such ease.
Yeah.
But he's a great player. He is a guy that has all Big East potential. And that he is the main reason why Xavier won that game. I mean, I think if you would have said to most UC fans, Najee's going to get his.
Yeah.
You're going to hold everybody else to single figures, under 10. You're going to like your chances.
We're going to win that, right? No.
Najee scores 31. It's hard to overcome that. And so he was spectacular. I hope for his sake, it kind of vaults him into this area where, he can make a run at being all the Big East first team. And quite frankly, from an offensive standpoint, Xavier is going to need a lot of nights like that against really, really good teams, just because they are kind of offensively challenged. They're not a great outside shooting team. A great player can help you overcome all that.
Sure.
And I also, I give Travis Steele a lot of credit because he's gotten them to buy in defensively.
Yeah.
And for a long time, really good Xavier teams were rarely defined by being able to play lockdown defense. They're getting there.
Yeah.
And you saw it at the end of the year last year, and you've seen it this season. They are 9-1, and they won that game yesterday. Number one reason, Najee Marshall. Number two, they really defend.
Yeah.
And Travis Steele, that was his stated goal when he took the job at Xavier, and it's becoming reality for the Musketeers.
Yeah, when I had him on a couple weeks ago, that's what he called their calling card, was the defense. He was like, we're going to defend night in and night out. We just need guys to knock down some shots.
Yeah.
Speaking of knocking down some shots, a guy that is not doing very much of that, Jaron Cumberland. Yeah. Coach said that, he's battling this hip injury, but this has just been a bizarre start to the season for him. What do you make of all of this?
You think about what people were writing when he announced he was coming back to UC. People were talking about him being first-team All-American.
Yeah.
Becoming just the second UC player ever to win his conference's Player of the Year award twice. Scoring 2,000 points, going down as maybe the greatest local product to ever play at UC. And those things can still all happen, but we're a month in, and you're kind of waiting for the season to begin for Jaron.
Yeah.
It started with the surgery he had kind of late in the summer. That got him behind schedule when they started practice. And then since then, it's been, an ankle here, a back issue here, a hip injury here. Obviously, John Brannon sat him for the one game before they went to St. Thomas. What you hope is there's a week between games for the Bearcats, and then they have a 10-game stretch or a 10-day stretch after the Iowa game on the 21st until the conference opener.
Yeah.
You hope that time gets
cohesion.
Jaron. Number one, gets Jaron healthy, and then number two, they can build some sort of cohesive offensive identity.
Yeah.
Because they haven't. I thought yesterday, if you're a Bearcat fan, you have to love the fact that they came out assertive and aggressive, because that hasn't always been the case in that building in that game. Keith Williams has taken a major step forward. Chris Vogt is better than expected. Micah Adams-Woods is helpful. He's producing as a freshman.
Yeah.
But it's all about Jaron Cumberland, and for a variety of reasons, they're just not getting it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mo.
How's that for in-depth basketball analysis?
We'll be back. Welcome back. The high school football season just wrapped up this weekend, and joining me tonight is Princeton head football coach Mike Daniels. Coach, you looking good, man. How you doing?
I appreciate it. Hey, same with you, and I appreciate you having me. It's I'm glad it's still football season, and so I appreciate you allowing me to come on the show and being able to come talk some football, talk about Princeton a little bit.
For sure, for sure. So, of course, we started the season with you talking about Hyattville High. You know, a lot of expectations coming into the season. Obviously, you all didn't get to where you wanted to go, where the hype was, you know, if you will. But what did you take away from the season?
I think for us, we do appreciate y'all putting on that docu-series for us. But it was neat, I think, for our kids to be able to see the exposure and be able to document a season. And for us, it was a great experience for me and my staff. It was a great experience for our fan base. And so for me, as I recap the season, it's the first time in 12 years that Princeton has been to the playoffs. I mean, that's a long time. And so for us, it was a right step in the area, in the direction to where we can go and have something to build on, because 12 years is like I said, is a long time. And so as we continue on building the winning culture, this was a major hurdle. And while things didn't end the way we wanted to, it was a major success, because I think it changed the mindset of our young people and our men, and got Princeton back into the postseason play.
For sure. Yeah. So going to the postseason, what did that experience teach you guys about being on that stage?
Well, I think for our young men, it's allowing them to understand that the margin of error and the little things, the small details, are extremely important. So when you lose for so long, things become habits, and so breaking those habits and building winning habits is what it taught them. And so for us, like I'm saying, I'm excited about the offseason, excited to move forward, because it's the next chapter. Yeah. It's the next chapter. And so, again, go back to 12 years, that's a long time.
Yes,
so,
it is.
For us, we're excited. Wasn't satisfied, but appreciated, and we're looking for the next chapter in Princeton football.
So, when we did the Hyattville High, it was mostly because you all had these big-time talents, recruits from D1, programs. What was it like for you, being the guy to steer the ship with the expectations coming from within and the community?
Absolutely. Well, I think it was awesome. It's life. It's ups and downs, it's ebbs and flows, and so for me, it was just cool being able to be in that setting, to be around and lead that level of player and help guide that level of player, bring that guy back to Princeton. It's been a while since we've been had that type of player, so that part of it was cool. And then we dealt with, anytime you develop in a young man, there's things that come with it as you lead and teach kids to be men, transitioning from boys. And so it was an awesome experience. Some really good kids, and I'm excited. I'm excited for those young men that are moving on to the next phase and doing some great things in life. And so it was awesome. Very, very positive experience. I'm very proud of what we did, and where we're going.
For sure. Yeah. So, just talking a little bit about the state championships this weekend. Elder fell short, but LaSalle, they win their 4th in 6 years. Yeah. What was your reaction to their dominance?
Well, I wasn't surprised. I was actually, proud of them. Anytime we get an area team winning, I'm excited for them. I'm Cincinnati through and through, and so it was exciting. And congratulations to Pat and Coach McLaughlin and to that team for winning a state championship, because winning at that level is extremely hard. And so congratulations to those young men. But it was cool. It was cool seeing them bring the title home. I was actually hoping that all three was going to be brought back to the city of Cincinnati, but we had two fall short in terms of Wyoming and Elder that were playing deep into the playoffs. But congratulations to LaSalle, and it's awesome. I mean, that's some big time winning. That's a culture of winning when you can bring 4 of 6, and so that's awesome. It really is.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what you're trying to bring
Absolutely.
to Princeton. So,
Absolutely.
Coach, we appreciate you taking the time. We started with you, ending the football season with you, and we look forward to seeing what you do at Princeton next season.
Well, thank you for having us and having me, and I appreciate you, and we're excited about the future, and go Vikes.
All right. That's Coach Mike Daniels. We'll be back to wrap up the show. Well, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun, but we got to go. I'd like to thank Jim Breech, Mo Egger, and Mike Daniels for joining me tonight, and to my village who helped put this all together. Hope you enjoyed the show. Let's do it again next Sunday. Until then, thanks for watching. Have a good night and a very blessed week.